Residents of indigenous communities in Region 2, Pomeroon, Supanam have been assured of government's commitment to supporting their every effort to improve production and productivity on their farms and community as a whole. On Friday last, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa and a team of senior officials and technical officers visited the community of Mashabu and engaged them on the issues affecting their community as well as the surrounding communities. In his address to residents, after listening to their concerns, Minister Mustafa referred to an earlier visit by Head of State Dr. Irfan Ali, who had made a number of commitments to them while speaking about development in agriculture for rural communities. He said his visit and that of the Head of State are examples of the importance government places on ensuring that development happens in every single community across the country and that resources are allocated with equity and balance. Minister Mustafa stressed that Guyana is being depended upon by an entire region to play a leading role in reducing the food import bill of CARICOM by 25% by the year 2025.
I want to say that, like any other communities across our country, especially the hinterland communities, we have 242 villages. On all the villages in Guyana, we as a government we are ensuring that we bring development to these communities. And you yourself, over the last 3 years, would have witnessed the tremendous changes that are taking place in your community and in the country as a whole. And that is because we want and we are making the resources that are available to the people of our country, we are distributing it evenly. So if you live in Mashabo, or you live on the Quarantine Coast, or on the East Coast, the same development that are taking place there, the same development that we are bringing to your community. So this morning, I want to say that we want to make this community a community that will be striving, but we know for a fact that agriculture is one of your main livelihood. And we will work with you, the farmers, to develop this sector. And when we came the last time, the president would have said, and I myself said that we will work with the farmers. Because we cannot do things in the same old way we used to do it. Today, Guyana is seen as the leader in agriculture. Our president is leading the agriculture agenda. When I became Minister of Agriculture, Guyana had lost its place in CARICOM in leading agriculture because the last government, they didn't have agriculture as a priority. And we know for a fact, we can have all the natural resources in the world, we can have the abundance of oil, come back to agriculture. Because if we don't produce food, we can't be food secure. You all agree with me? And then that is why we'll work with you to develop this sector in this community.
He said every single farmer in Guyana, including those of indigenous communities such as Mashabo Mission, must rise to the challenge of producing more.
We said the last time that we will work to develop approximately 10 acres of land in pineapple cultivation. I know I brought the head of NDI with me. They have a machine here, and I understand the machine has started. Today it will arrive to start the work to clear the land for the 10 acres. When that is completed, you have the head of NARI. He will be back here with you to help you to start with his officers, all the extension officers, the people who are trained to do these things, to plant the 10 acre with the community. So that will be a community project where your community now will produce at least 10 acres of pineapple. So that will not end there. What we are doing too, we have the new GMC, the New Guyana Marketing Corporation. We have this guy with the red shirt, who is Ashraf. He will coordinate with you all and to find proper market for the produce, so that we will find buyers for you. You're not able to sell your pineapple at a low cost. We will try to ensure that you get maximum price for your pineapple. So that's the way we'll be doing it. Also on the Essequibo coast today later on, I'll be commissioning an agro-processing facility. Why we are doing that? What is an agro-processing facility? An agro-processing facility is where we add value to your crop. So if you take your produce there, we either package it in a proper package, in an attractive package, or we use it to do more value-added product. For example, pineapple, we can make the pineapple juice, we can do the pineapple jam, and those are the value-added product. And we bottle it, hygienic, and we export it. So that is what we are doing. And in another few months from now, we'll have 3 of those facilities on the Essequibo coast. So your produce also can be taken there, and we can work with you to ensure that we enhance your products.
Referring to the commitments made during the recent Tushao conference, Minister Mustafa assured that the promised development of 10 acres of lands for expanded agriculture in the community is about to begin.
Because what we are looking at now, we want to make Guyana a central place in CARICOM for food production. This year in our budget, we have money that we'll start to utilize shortly to build a food hub. You know what's a food hub? A food hub where a number of products will be stored and we'll move it to different parts of the Caribbean. So Guyana will be Guyana will be an area, a country that will have large scale food export coming from Guyana going out to the Caribbean. So you in this community will have a chance to make a contribution, because if you produce pineapple, if you produce red beans and other crops, you can able to sell your produce there, which will be exported overseas. Our fruits and vegetables are in high demand in most of the Caribbean, places like Barbados. I went to Barbados and had a meeting with the private sector. They want all the fruits and vegetables from Guyana. The Eastern Caribbean countries want the same thing. So what we are doing in various regions across the country, like what we are doing here, we will start pineapple cultivation, we will start red beans production. In Region 1, we are doing all the spices, things like turmeric, ginger, black pepper. That is the spice region we are looking at. In Region 9, we have already started the trial for wheat, and we have already started the cultivation of corn and soya. In Region 10, the Tacoma Savannah, by the end of this year, we'll have over 3,000 acres of corn and soya. In another 2 years from now, Guyana will be self-sufficient in producing all its need for corn and soya. We will save almost $60 million annually. That money can be utilized into other sectors. So you could see the plans that we have, and it already started to bear fruit. The president, when he was here the last time, he said that we are building an economy for 2030 and beyond. Now is the time we'll do the heavy lifting. Now is the time that everyone has to get on board, so that we can able to make a contribution to the development plan that we have in our country.
Farmers of Mashabo have also been challenged to get into the cultivation of red beans, an undertaking that will be supported by the National Agricultural Research and Extension Institute, NARI. According to Minister Mustafa, once preparation of the 10-acre plot is completed, then his ministry can begin work clearing and preparing another area for the red beans venture. He said Guyana must expand its production in order to meet the needs of the CARICOM region and beyond.
So whilst we are talking about rice, increase yield in rice and increase the acreage in rice cultivation, we want you to be a producer of the fruits and vegetables that are needed in our country and that are needed in the Caribbean. We want you to be in the livestock sector so that we can develop the livestock sector. We want you to embark on new crops so that we can go into new crops and reduce the food import bill in our country. So those are the objectives in the Ministry of Agriculture. Those are the objectives of the government of Guyana. You heard just now the Vice Chairman would have been talking about 25 by 2025, what that means. And I want to tell you that, look, since Guyana took the lead once again in agriculture in CARICOM, we have seen a renewed interest, not only in our country, but across the Caribbean. The entire Caribbean is looking forward to Guyana today for that leadership.
Vulnerable members of the Mashabo community were also beneficiaries of the ministry's Black Giant Chicken program, in which 20 baby chicks and a quantity of starter feed are given to selected households. Mashabo is also one of the communities selected for the rollout of the Cage Culture program, which is already showing promise in Mainstay and other communities in Region 2. While there in the community, Minister Mustafa also helped the Tushao and other villagers in stocking the cage with fingerlings. Residents also received a boat and engine and a range of agricultural machinery and equipment for use on their farms. Across Inanna Regina, Minister Mustafa and team met with a number of farmers and residents who had been shortlisted for the provision of a range of agriculture machinery and equipment that was made possible through funding from the Inter-American Development Bank, IDB, under Component 2 of the Ministry of Agriculture's Sustainable Agriculture Development Program, SADP. Approximately 29 small and medium-scale farmers from the region received the inputs that are valued at just over 2 million Guyana dollars. In remarks to the recipients, Minister Mustafa said that while rice cultivation is important, it is equally important that farmers are able to diversify into other forms of agriculture, such as cash crops, livestock production, etc. According to Minister Mustafa, while Guyana currently produces 60% of the food it consumes, the idea is to expand beyond just what is needed locally.
And countries that countries that are producing food just was doing it for themselves. We in Guyana, we are very fortunate that we are producing 60% of the food that we are consuming. But that doesn't mean that we must stop at 60%. We want to continue to expand the traditional areas, the traditional fruits and vegetable areas that we have been producing, the rice and sugar that we have been producing, the livestock that we have been producing. But at the same time, we want to go into new areas. We want more farmers to be not only producing or being one form of production. You must be multi-dimensional. You must produce rice. You can rear livestock. You can do cash crop and all those things. Because what we are doing and what we want to do, we want to give that support to the farmers. And the resources that we have been putting into the major sectors like rice and sugar, we are now seeing those resources being made available to the other areas, fruits and vegetables areas, livestock areas. And when I said that, I really mean investment. What we are doing now, today, you have a number of farmers will receive input. You will receive this. The PS just talked about your activity will become less burdensome. Your day-to-day job, if you're a full-time farmer and you're doing cash crop farming, it will get a little easier. But that doesn't mean that 25 farmers or 40 farmers who are here will receive this input that we are giving here today, and we finish at that. We will work across the board. We will work across your region, like what we are doing in other regions. I just came from Mashabo, as the comrade rightly said. We give them a lot of input in Mashabo. And I made the point there that our government and our party believe in equal distribution of resources. And you will receive your fair share of distribution in the resources of our country. So whilst we will be giving 40 farmers here today or 30 farmers here these inputs, we have things like tillers, milking machine, water pumps, shade house material, and a number of other things, mist blower. Those same equipment and material will be made available to approximately 1,200 farmers in Region 2. 1,200 farmers will receive that. And across this country, thousands of other farmers will receive these inputs.
Minister Mustafa was also the guest speaker at the commissioning of the latest fully equipped agro-processing facility in the region. This one at Charity, an investment of 28 million Guyana dollars.